Good morning. Good morning. This is a vibrant time at First Unitarian Universalist Church of Austin. So before we formally begin our worship service, we invite you to lend your attention to a few brief announcements that will let you know about some ways to get involved in the life of the church. First, volunteers are needed to set up and work the church auction on Saturday, May 10th. The party is at 6 p.m. The live auction is at 7 p.m. See Shannon for more details and to volunteer. Today's worship topic relates to climate justice. Our bookstore volunteers would like you to know that there are great books on climate justice from a UU perspective at the bookstore. Stop by and check it out. This is Reverend Erin Walter's last service at First UU's sabbatical minister. As First UU's sabbatical minister, in our church's tradition of supporting living artists, there is a table in the gallery now with vinyl records, CDs, adult and kids shirts, and more from Reverend Erin's band, Parker Woodland, which just performed at the Capitol last weekend for the Hands Off Picnic, and which has performed acoustic in worship here. So stop by on your way out of church today, share some gratitude, and wish Reverend Erin well in her her music ministry, and work with the Texas Unitarian Universalist Justice Ministry. Each Sunday, one of our caring companions is designated to be available at the front of the sanctuary after the service to listen to any immediate pastoral needs and assist you with connecting to additional pastoral support if you would like. Today's caring companion is Carolyn Greminger. Carolyn, would you please stand or wave your arms so that we can thank you and folks can identify you after service? Also, please see the Friday e-news for many more announcements and invitations. Now, let all who have gathered in beloved community, whether in virtual space or in person, join our spirits in worship together.
Beauty awake in the morn from the beautiful dreams. Beauty awake from rest. Let beauty awake for beauty's sake. In the hour when the birds awaken the break, and the stars are bright in the west. Let beauty awake in the eve from the slumber of day, awake in the crimson eve, in the day's dusk end, when the shades ascend. Let her wake to the kiss of a tender friend, to render again and receive.
Good morning. Welcome to First Unitarian Universalist Church of Austin. Whether you are joining us online or here in the sanctuary, happy Sunday. We are a spiritual community dedicated to the free and responsible search for truth, meaning, and beauty. I'm the Reverend Erin Walter, First UU's sabbatical minister for just this last service and a couple more days. I've been with you while Reverend Chris Jimerson has been out on sabbatical, and I'm just grateful to have this one more Sunday with all of you and to know that my colleague and friend is going to be coming back refreshed and renewed. Our theme across many UU congregations this month is joy. So I'm wearing a lot of neon green today for Charlie XCX because my big joy this week was taking my daughter to that concert. And we're also talking about joy as a climate justice strategy. So my earrings are lightning bolts, which felt like something about climate to me. I invite you to think about where you are finding joy and the ways that the earth is nourishing you, and you may be making progress for climate justice today and always. I'm white, I'm freckled, I'm a middle-aged redhead, my pronouns are she, her, and again, it is a joy to be with you today. I especially want to welcome those of you who are new to the congregation. We've all been new before, and it's very cool and brave to show up and be new. We hope you find a home here and that one day you'll be one of the old timers who's welcoming other new people. If you're joining us remotely, if you would please say hello in the comments and let us know from where you are viewing the service. Here in person, we hope to see you in social hour after church. You'll just follow the crowd that way. We also invite you, either way, to fill out an online visitor form at austinuu.org. Simply click worship. It'll show you a link to the forum, and we are excited to get to know you. As UUs, we come from a long tradition of seeing a spark of the divine in every person. So I invite you to greet the holy among us this morning in the comments or by turning to each other here. As always, I encourage and trust you to keep that wonderful energy going after the service and throughout the week. Now, just a note about today being my last service as sabbatical minister. Again, I want to thank you for our time together. I want to thank Reverend Chris for entrusting me with this role. Reverend Michelle LaGrave, your interim minister, for the joy of doing co-ministry together, even part-time. And as those of you who've been seeing me at the Capitol know, my time in this building has been very part-time because I've been out there as well. And I will tell you, representing you out there, a lot of folks have been enlivened to know that there is a church such as yours and a community of people such as you. And if you are new to the church because you've been finding us out there at rallies and in the world, an extra special welcome to you. Now, usually when a minister leaves a congregation, there is a significant time of separation. I want to let you know that it's a little different because this church is a vital member of the Texas UU Justice Ministry, which I serve as the minister and executive director. That's the state action network for UU's justice seeking in Texas. So I'll be seeing you in that work, and my music ministry is also public, so I'll be seeing you. And it's okay, we don't have to pretend like we don't know each other, but any pastoral concerns or church concerns, I will redirect you to the ministers and the ministries of this church. That is the boundary that we will hold when we see each other. And I appreciate you holding that with me, and then warmly welcoming Reverend Chris back upon his return next week. Thank you, and now let us worship together.
Good morning. My name is Isaac. I am wearing a navy blue shirt with white and orange flowers. I am a middle-aged white person. So, good morning. Please join me in the words by which we light our chalice. This is the flame we hold in our hearts as we strive for justice for everyone. This is the light we shine upon systems of oppression until they are no more. This is the warmth we share with one another as our struggle becomes our salvation. Our call to worship this morning comes from Robin Wall Kimmerer, author, botanist, and member of the Citizen Potawatomi Nation. Even a wounded world is feeding us. Even a wounded world holds us, giving us moments of wonder and joy. I choose joy over despair, not because I have my head in the sand, but because joy is what the earth gives me daily, and I must return the gift. Please rise, either in body or in spirit, and let us sing together hymn 100, I've Got Peace Like a River.
You guys know when I say old timers, I mean me and all the kids who are growing up here. And I saw some of us doing the motions of that song. Thank you, E, for choosing that hymn for us. It's a fun one. All right, I get to affirm our mission, which is something that I hold on my heart every day, and I know guides each of us in the world First UU, as a religious community, wrote this as a common purpose. The congregation wrote it together and put it on the wall here for us to recommit ourselves every Sunday. Let's say it together now. Together, we nourish souls, transform lives, and do justice to build the beloved community.
When lonely feelings chill the meadows of your mind, just think if winter comes, can spring be far behind? Beneath the deepest snows, the secret of a rose, it's merely that it knows you must believe in spring. Just as a tree is sure its leaves will reappear, it knows its emptiness is just a time of year. The frozen mountain dreams of April's melting streams, how crystal clear it seems you must believe in spring. When angry voices drown the music of the spheres, and children face a world that's far beyond their years, above the darkest sky, the full horizons lie, with all the reasons why you must believe in spring. You must believe in love and trust it's on its way. Just as the sleeping rose awaits the kiss of May, so in a world of snow, of things that come and go, where what you think you know can't be certain of, you must believe in spring and love.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sol. It is now time for the story for all ages. So anyone who would like to join me up on the stage, we've got lots of pretty pictures to look at today. You're all good? No, you're fine. All right. Hello, everybody. Hello, hello. Okay. Hi. Nice. Okay. This book is essentially a love letter to our planet, okay? It's called Thank You, Earth. It's by Pulley, Sayre. It's got lots of gorgeous photography, so we're going to go a little bit slow so we can look at all the pretty pictures, okay? All right. Thank you, Earth. Dear Earth, thank you for water and those that float, for slippery seaweed and stone. Pretty water pictures. Thank you for mountains and minerals that strengthen bills and bone. Thank you for air, even fishy whale breath. thank you for colors and coastlines and beach. Thank you for tiny and towering. For trees and vines that reach. Damn, he's upside down. What's he doing? Thank you for curves and prickles and parallels. For patterns, all shapes that repeat. Thank you for leaves and stems and buds, for plant parts that we can eat. Thank you for sounds and storms, for struggles and seasons, and pale in-betweens. Thank you for rays and radials and overlapping greens. Love that one. Thank you for jumbles, ingredients for soil, and bright new growth in spring. The gorgeous flower. Thank you for those that crawl. Yes, all. Even those that sting, because they're important too, believe it or not. Thank you for sunsets. For sky, room for birds. For edges that eyes can roam. Kind of looks like a face. Thank you for beginnings, for endings, for lifetimes. Thank you for being our home. Right. Thank you, Earth. Thank you, everybody, for reading that story with me. Let's head out to the playground. We're going to do some painting.
This is the time during the service that we commit to the mission and ministries of this church by making an offering. We give out of our own so that together we might build a better world. If you're visiting with us today, please allow the plate to pass you by. You are our guests. Welcome. You can give in a few different ways by going to austinuu.org and clicking on the link on the top right side of the page, or by texting your contributions to 84321, or by placing an offering in the basket the ushers are about to pass. Here in the sanctuary, the ushers will now collect our offering. All blessings on your gifts and all blessings on you as givers. Our reading this morning is from Nature and the Serious Work of Joy by Bulgarian-American writer Maria Popova in The Marginalian. It is time for a different, formal defense of nature. We should offer up not just the notion of being sensible and responsible about it, which is sustainable development, nor the notion of its mammoth utilitarian and financial value, which is ecosystem services, but a third way, something entirely different. We should offer up what it means to our spirits, the love of it. We should offer up its joy.
Now is the time in our service where we center, we pray, we breathe. One of the ways that I pray is through gratitude, as there are many, many ways to pray. So I want to express 2 pieces of gratitude this morning. Would you raise your hand or wave if you were here or you watched online the Transgender Day of Visibility service about a month ago? Yeah, a lot of you. E made an amazing, insightful video for us, but couldn't be here in person. And so I want to take a moment for us to appreciate E's contribution to that service as well, if you would. I guarantee you would have heard a lot of cheering in person if you had not been out of town, so thank you. And then I would like to say that as a minister on my way out, I want to recognize how many people make this church happen and what a shared ministry it is. So if you have any kind of volunteer role in this church, anything from plants to the bookstore to coffee to service to social action, absolutely anything, would you please rise so we can pray by appreciating you? Thank you. You are all in very good hands and feet and spirits here. And with that, I invite you to take a breath with me and enter into a spirit of meditation, gratitude, prayer, or simply silence. Holy mystery of many names that hears us in all languages and knows no human borders, who answers to Jesus and justice and silence and Gaia and more than I can even know from my small place in this big world. Thank you for today. Thank you for our planet. Thank you for the stars that surround us, for people and community. And God, I pray for those who are suffering, for those who are hit hardest by the climate crisis, by any injustice, and by all of us, for all of us, because our souls are all connected. We know this in our UU faith. Where one is suffering, all are suffering. And in order for there to be liberation, we must all be free. I pray it be so. In our silence, we will hold the prayers for those who are sick, struggling with mental health, physical health, estrangement, depression, anxiety, being out of work, struggling financially, any of life's struggles in which we are never alone. Let us hold those prayers in our hearts together alongside the great joys that we amplify when we share them with one another. We will take some time for silence now. Blessed be, and amen. As music begins, you are invited either to continue to hold your own sacred silence or to move to light candles in recognition of joys, sorrows, hopes for the world, anything that you bring on your heart to our community today. Thank you so much to our musicians for the earth-centered offerings today. So beautiful. Since my own band can't be with me today, I'm going to invite you all to be in Parker Woodland today. So what I'm going to invite you to do as we start the sermon about climate hope and justice is to make a heartbeat with me It's just 2. You can do it on your knees. You can do it up here like, I'm going to see how it sounds doing this. Can you do that for me? Just keep it up. The spell that we're casting. Good job, keep it up. Demands a reckoning. A reckoning. Keep going. All this greed needs a sacrifice. Now or never, leave it all behind. Building spaceships, wasting time. I don't think we're getting out alive. Good job, keep it up. This greed needs a sacrifice. All this hate claims your soul in kind. Marching armies selling you their lies. Looking down from up on high. I don't think we're getting out alive. That's it. Thank you. That's a piece of a song I wrote called The Reckoning, and some of you remember the Reverend Jonalou Johnstone, who was my co-minister in 2022 and 2023, and when she first came to see my rock band do that song in full electric at the Parlor pizza place over here, she came up to me afterward and she said, "I don't think we're getting out alive, yikes." The song is a lamentation, which is a spiritual practice. And there's a part in the song that says, "Is this the last sunset we'll ever see? How will we know it's enough? How will we know it's enough?" And that's the question that's on my heart all the time when it comes to climate justice and the earth. This greed, this hate that's claiming our souls and that's numbing us to the needs of our planet and the needs of each other. I absolutely wrote that song with Elon Musk in mind a couple years ago, where that line about building spaceships and wasting time. I don't want to get out of this planet alive. I want this planet to thrive. So, I know that I'm known for what I like to call a hope orientation. And when I started serving here, I requested the title of Minister for Joy and Justice. So not everybody is expecting a song like The Reckoning, which is really heavy also in its full rock form. But there is so much to lament. And the practice of lamentation, where we name what is wrong, and we are honest, and we lift it up to the all or to our community, and then we declare a trust that someone will answer our prayer, is a very important sacred practice. And there are Unitarian Universalists like the Reverend Derek Jackson who lead lamentation practices. I believe your new incoming minister, Reverend Carrie Hawley Hurt, also has a workshop and a service around lamentation, and I'm excited to check that out sometime. But it's a very important practice. And I was surprised and elated when I was researching this service to find that there is actually a movement for more joy in climate justice work. And in fact, that researchers and scholars are insisting that climate justice and happiness can be intertwined. So that's some of what I want to give you glimpses of today, because I dearly need hope, and I know you do too, when it comes to this climate work. Because if you were at the Capitol with me during the hands-off picnic, you heard me say there is a bill in our Texas legislature from Senator Hughes that would have the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality testing at water treatment plants for chemicals in urine associated with abortion, birth control, and health care for trans people. That's our environmental commission. Everything is connected. It's connected to our bodily autonomy. It's connected to LGBTQ rights, to women's rights. So we need everybody to be paying attention to what's going on in climate justice. That's just one example. And we need joy to do it, because otherwise we're not going to make it through. Otherwise it's going to be too hard. So thankfully there were a lot of really good options around how this work can bring us joy. UU National did a climate justice revival in the last year, and they asked these questions. How can our climate work be less isolated and more connected, less anxious and more nourishing, less limited and more visionary? But first, what are we talking about when we're talking about climate justice? That term in particular. This is a definition for you from that UU Climate Revival. They say climate change has the same root causes as health disparities, poverty, criminalization, and most of our society's problems. Extractive systems like the fossil fuels industry take from the earth, destroy our communities with pollution, disproportionately harm marginalized communities, and increase the inequities that drive racism, sexism, classism, and more. So to shift from an extractive age to a new era means we must reject the broader systems of harm in capitalism and white supremacy to realize a future where all communities thrive. This rejection of systems that take, destroy, and harm necessitates a shift toward connection, nourishment, and communities of care. That is what we're trying to do here in our church. And so before I go any further, I want to thank those of you in this congregation who've been doing the hard and often thankless work of environmental and climate justice over decades. If you identify as one of those people who has been doing this work for a long time, would you raise your hand and let us see you? Thank you. Thank you. It is serious work. And the research is showing us that if we want to see more hands go up next year, in the week of Earth Day, for example, one way we might have more folks is through more humor. One of the great sources of human joy. So an article in Fix Solutions Online, the headline says, "Laughter is the ultimate unifier. Can it work for climate action?" And this quote is tough, but you're going to know. You're going to understand. It says, researcher Sayre says, environmentalists have long received criticism for being preachy or taking ourselves, and I will put myself in this, ourselves too seriously, in some cases becoming the butt of a joke. Al Gore being a perfect example. And when a joke has a butt, Sayre says, it can actually act as a social wedge, further consolidating in-groups and out-groups. And what we want is for everyone to be in the group of climate justice. So here's a joke for you. This week being Earth Day, and Friday was April 25th, in the movie Miss Congeniality, does anybody know that one? There's a scene that's now a favorite online meme where William Shatner's Miss United States pageant MC asks contestant Miss Rhode Island in an interview, describe your perfect date. Do you know what she says? April 25th. She says, that's a tough one. I'd have to say April 25th because it's not too hot and it's not too cold. All you need is a light jacket. So when I saw that meme this week, it of course got me thinking immediately. I laughed and then I started to think, will we ever have April weather again in Texas? With climate change, and it's gut-wrenching. So we need to engage more people and get more people to change their beliefs about climate justice and climate change, is what the researchers tell us. And Sayre, the science researcher at University of Utah, says humor may make people receptive to information they disagree with. So there are several climate justice and science comedians out there that I am going to recommend to you. Researching this sermon was so fun. There's someone called Kasha Patel, formerly with NASA's Earth Observatory, now running science-themed comedy shows in DC. You can find those online to share with your friends. As Patel says, comedy can transcend different educational levels and backgrounds, which is so important. And we can use that for science. Then we have Raleigh Williams, a comedian, does comedy and education on a YouTube show called Climate Town, and Brooklyn eco-rapper Hilla Perry, who dresses up as the Earth for her act. So those are some options for you. But we're not all comedians, so what else can we do? There's a project called Happy Climate that's on a mission to show all of us small steps we can take to reduce our carbon footprint. And I'll just tell you, I was one of those people just last week. I was telling my guitar player, this is really about corporations. This is really about what governments and corporations can do. Like, what can we do? And so I stand corrected, because what the research for this very sermon taught me was that what we do personally does very much matter, in addition to the systemic changes that we need to make. We've got a little video that I'm just going to give you just a snippet of, and then we'll talk about it. We've got a researcher named Jay-Z, not the musician, and her colleague Elizabeth Dunn, who are studying the intersections of climate justice and happiness. Here's a taste.
So my name is Liz Dunn, and I do research on how we can increase happiness.
Hello, my name is Erin Zhao, call me Jay-Z, and I do research on how to reduce carbon emissions.
And recently, we've been bringing these two seemingly disparate areas of research together to try to identify what we call sweet spots. That is, behavioral changes that would both increase individuals' happiness and decrease their carbon emissions. Now, as behavioral scientists, we can tell you that changing behavior is hard. So we are not here to flight shame anybody or to try to compete for the very lowest carbon footprint. Instead, we'd really encourage you to take kind of a playful, curious mindset and just sort of brainstorm the ways that you might be able to change your own life in order to increase your happiness and decrease your carbon footprint.
An important premise here is that our actions matter. They matter not only because they show our commitment to sustainability, but also they signal to other people that we care. Our actions can instigate a ripple effect for collective actions to tackle a grand challenge like climate change. Now, having said this, I should say that individual change should complement, not substitute, broader institutional structural change. So we do recognize the need for climate funding policies and infrastructure. In this session, we will focus on individual behaviors in a sweet spot between carbon reduction and happiness promotion.
We're going to take you on a whirlwind tour of the science of sweet spots, and we're going to hit on 4 key areas: driving, flying, eating, and shopping. Okay, I wanted to show you the whole video, but here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put it in the newsletter, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about, I'm going to give you a little summary, but I was so impressed by the program that they've put together that the Texas UU Justice Ministry is going to look at offering it to all of our congregations. But I'll tell you some of the things that I learned. They shared, of course, this won't surprise you, that biking and carpooling to work increased happiness if you can do it. Carpooling because you get that social reinforcement in addition to reducing your carbon footprint. And that could be true not just for work, that could be true for coming to church. Is there someone you haven't seen in church lately and maybe they're having a hard time getting there, but you could offer to carpool with them to church? Then you have the benefit of helping someone connect with their community of care and reducing a carbon footprint. The same for if you're going out socializing, if you're going to a concert, something like that. When it came to food, I didn't know necessarily that cheese had as much of a carbon footprint as beef and lamb. So, I know, whoa. The vegans are excited for me to tell you this. So if you can go without beef, lamb, and cheese at lunchtime, or choose what is workable for you, that reduction will help. When it comes to fashion, the two folks that you saw in that little video, they committed together as friends to only shopping for clothes twice a year, which makes sense, right? It's seasonal. Maybe you're shopping based on the weather needs. And they said that the carbon, I've been looking forward to telling you this all day. The carbon impact of shoes, jeans, and jackets is the worst. The carbon impact of underwear is the least. So they said, you don't need to worry about skimping on underwear. I love my job. So that's some information for you. There'll be a lot more in the videos, but it also made me think of my mom, whose motto is no special trips. So if you are going to get something, think about where else can I go? Or do I really need this thing today? Can I wait and go with several other things? No special trips. They also talk about if you're going to go on a work trip and you really need to go, think about, could I see people I love on that trip to get some social emotional needs met? Because the grief and the anxiety of the climate crisis is real, and we need to nourish ourselves so that we can stay in all of the justice work and all of the care that we're doing just to survive and thrive in this world. So that's another thing to think about. There's a lot in there, and I'm really looking forward to talking with the team at the Justice Ministry about bringing this Happy Climate workshop to UUs in Texas. There's also a carbon calculator, and one of the things that they said is people criticize carbon calculators for shifting too much emphasis away from systemic changes. And with the Justice Ministry, we're real big on systemic changes, and that is huge. But Jay-Z says there's no evidence that if I do more as a person, I'll become less active civically. In fact, the research suggests that the opposite is true. So if you're making these commitments in your daily life and in your community, you'll be even more, your word will also mean more when you go to testify. And you can speak from personal experience about what it means to find joy in making these changes in your life and holding our leaders to account as well. Should we take a breath? Thank you, Air. Sometimes we just need to do that. Another piece of claiming our own actions is that it affirms our agency. It is very easy to feel like there is nothing we can do, and it's simply not true. And we can do more when we do it together. So psychiatrist Alison Wong says the climate crisis is real, and labeling it, that was that lamentation, and figuring out how to manage your experience without letting it overwhelm you is so important. So one of my asks for you today as people of faith living on this planet Earth is to find ways to not let it overwhelm you. We cannot do everything, and we can do some things. Ask each other about the things you're doing and celebrate the things you're doing. Say thank you to those folks that you know have been in it a long time and ask them, what's one thing I can do to support the systemic work you're doing, and what's one thing we could do together that's a personal thing we can be doing. That's part of our UU faith of interconnectedness and of believing that we can be the change. Another thing that's going on is that as temperatures rise, we're seeing more conflict. Temperature increase is correlated with a 10.8% increase in conflict and a 16.2% increase in violent crime. So I'm also asking you to think about how we advocate for things that can reduce that, how we not let those increasing stressors also make us a more policed state and a more fascist state. We need more health care. We need more mental health care. And if you're not sure about how to be advocating for that, I see David Overton from your social justice team. Would you like to wave? There is a social justice team right here he is sending out meaningful actions on the daily almost right now. So if you're not getting those, please get on that list. What one of the researchers, Susan Clayton from the College of Worcester, says, I try to make meaning from the process, not just thinking about the outcomes. of the work that I'm doing. And as the pandemic so aptly demonstrated, behavior patterns can change rapidly. Do you remember we didn't want to, but we changed our behavior rapidly and the earth came alive. Even a little bit of that would be so welcome right now. And it is reason to have hope. We can turn things around. And one of the best ways to decrease anxiety about the earth is to engage in empowering actions. All right, the last thing I want to leave you with, a little bit from Monia Reles from the Hitchcock Center for the Environment. She names, first of all, what all of us in UU ministry name a lot, which is that, and rightfully so, that Black womanist theologians and writers have been naming that joy is an act of resistance, that we need imagination in climate justice, and author Adrienne Marie Brown in particular, her books, including Pleasure Activism, are fantastic guides. If this idea that we can find joy in climate justice or activism is new, then I commend Adrienne Marie Brown to you. Monia says, I find joy in dreaming what a future world could look like. No homelessness or poverty, an abundance of food available to anyone who needs it, a government where every person has a voice. This imagining is another part of climate hope. And Adrienne Marie Brown is quoted in this same piece saying, I believe all organizing is science fiction, that we are shaping the future we long for and have not yet experienced. And so Reles went out with 6-year-olds at that Hitchcock Center, and they found a fallen tree. Now, I want you to imagine your 6-year-old self, if you can, and bring a childlike wonder to this fallen tree that we're going to imagine together. She says, we started climbing across the tree's fallen trunk, and I asked the kids why trees are so important. The students had amazing answers. They were fun to climb on. They were beautiful. They made forests. They gave shade. We talked about the carbon cycle, how humans breathe in oxygen and breathe out carbon, and trees do the reverse. The students all began puffing out exaggerated breaths. Can you do that with me? Some exaggerated puffy breaths. Sorry. We're feeding the trees, one of them exclaimed joyfully. Sometimes climate hope is complicated, and sometimes it's as simple as that. Appreciating your own breath and the beautiful ways you and a tree can care for each other. In that spirit, friends, as we go forth today, I ask you to keep an eye out for those earthly joy moments. Share them with each other. And remember that your actions matter, and our actions are amplified together, and we can do our part for this place we call home. I invite you to rise joyfully for our closing hymn, Blue Boat Home.
Still my dry land
please join me in the words by which we extinguish our chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we hold in our hearts until we are together again.
And we look around and appreciate someone for being here. And if you are so moved, and join me in our benediction. This joy that I have, the world didn't give it to me, oh no. This joy that I have, the world didn't give it to me. Don't you know that? This joy that I have, the world didn't give it to me. Oh, I said the world didn't give it, the world can't take it away. One more time for the people who are learning it. This joy that I have, the world didn't give it to me, oh no. This joy that I have, the world didn't give it to me. Don't you know that? This joy that I have, the world didn't give it to me. Oh, I said the world didn't give it, the world can't take it away. That last line like we mean it. The world didn't give it, the world can't take it away. Amen. Go in peace.